Welcome to another episode of the USTM Podcast, where we bring you crucial discussions on topics that impact our society, health, and future. I'm your host, Vitsübeiü Secü, and today we're addressing a growing concern alcohol dependence, especially among the young generations in the Northeast India. Did you know that while alcohol consumption is legally restricted for the individuals below 21, a shocking number of students as young as 15 are consuming alcohol in the Northeast India? What does this mean for their mental health, their academic performance, and for our community's future? To help us understand this alarming trend, we have Dr. Pranjal Sarma, Assistant Professor and Consultant of the Department of Psychiatry at Sangma International Medical College and Hospital, Meghalaya. Hello, Doctor. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me in your show, and I hope this discussion will be quite informative and insightful for our viewers.
We often hear that consuming alcohol affects brain function. Doctor, would you like to say how it happens or affects the brain?
I think you are absolutely right when saying that alcohol affects our brain function. This is because alcohol is a very toxic psychoactive substance which has the potential to create dependence. So alcohol, when it enters our body, it starts modulating or regulating some of the biochemicals which we call as neurotransmitters. Alcohol predominantly affects the GABA neurotransmitter and the dopaminergic neurotransmitters. So what happens is when there is a increase in the level of GABA, so it causes muscle relaxation, it causes decrease in the level of anxiety, it causes euphoria. Similarly, when there is high level of dopamine inside the what we call as the reward circuit of our brain, so it motivates a person to repeat the action or repeat the behavior again. Therefore, when a person is consuming alcohol, he's also having the pleasurable effect, and also there is an increase in motivation to reuse the substance again to get that pleasurable effect.
Okay, sir, that's alarming. So, what exactly happens to a teenager if they start drinking at their early age, like 14 or 15, and still continues to their college life?
So, alcohol related problems, they depend on primarily two things. One is the age of onset when a person is started or person have started taking alcohol, and the other is the severity and frequency, like how much of alcohol the person is consuming and how frequently the person is consuming that amount of alcohol. Now, as we all know that the brain development continues till the mid of 20s, that is around approximately 25 years of age. So any person who has started consuming before at a very early age, say 14 or 15, so there are extensive literatures which support that it not only causes functional changes, but it also damages the structural part of the brain. So more commonly, what the literatures have says that there are certain parts of the brain like the prefrontal cortex, like the basal ganglia, the hippocampus. These are areas which get affected when a person starts consuming alcohol at a very early age. Now these parts of the brain, they are mostly involved in regulations of our executive functions, like our decision making, our problem solving, our memory, learning, and also behavior and emotions, controlling negative impulses. So these are controlled by the prefrontal cortex. So a person who is consuming alcohol at a very early age, because of both the structural and functional loss, the person loses his control of consuming alcohol. There is more amount of alcohol is being consumed, and also his decision making, his ability to learn, to memorize things starts affecting. In return, or in a longer run, that will affect the academic performance of the student or his ability to achieve.
That's concerning, especially for students preparing for their future. Now, why do you think it's more common in the northeastern states, or is it really common?
So there are certain states which are considered as dry states where the prevalence of alcohol use is definitely very low. But yes, for the northeastern states, there are certain factors probably which predisposes a person to early exposure to alcohol and alcohol related products. See, a northeastern part is culturally very diverse. There are a lot of ethnic groups, there are a lot of indigenous communities which have their own cultures, own rituals, own dietary practices. And in most of these in most of these cultures, there is a tradition of making homemade alcohol, rice beer, rice wine. These kind of things are there, and because of which the children at a very younger age, they get an exposure to products which contain alcohol, and that in turn it produces a risk for the person to develop alcohol dependence in future. That is one of the primary reason why probably northeastern states are considered to be more in consuming alcohol related beverages. And the other thing is the social acceptance. The social acceptance of alcohol is very high in this part of the country also. Alcohol is used in different practices, for ritualistic practices, for socializing, for ceremonies, for marriages, and there are very other uh, high level of social acceptance to alcohol. Along with that, there is a low level of awareness. Now, since there is so much of acceptance to alcohol, it obviously decreases the harmful effects of alcohol. It does not come into picture. The harmful use of alcohols do not come in picture because there is so much of acceptance. So that is one thing, that there is low level of awareness among people, among families, about alcohol and alcohol related the hazardous effects. Also legislations. So see, the prohibitory legislations are not possible to be implemented uniformly across the countries, and there are a lot of reasons for that, which actually cannot be discussed in this platform. But probably these are the most important reasons why we feel that alcohol is more commonly used in this part of the country.
So, what happens if this pattern of alcohol use continues?
The impact of alcohol is not just at the individual level. The impact of alcohol is at social level, at community level, and at the nation at large. So a person who is consuming alcohol, at individual level, definitely. See, if we consider he has started consuming alcohol at a very young age, so there will be less academic achievements. So he will be performing very poor in his studies, and also there will be less academic achievements. Secondly, the physical health hazards. Because of chronic alcohol use, there will be liver disease, there will be the cancers, nutritional deficiencies, cardiovascular diseases. These are one of the health hazard that alcohol usually produces. Along with that, there are many psychological illnesses like anxiety disorders, depressive disorders, even psychosis. These are also precipitated by alcohol. And not only just at the individual level, a person who is consuming alcohol will also be very unstable in maintaining relationships. He will not be able to sustain a family. There will be domestic violences, there will be neglect and abuse of children, and these things also reflect the community. At the community level, and even at the larger to the national level also, we can see that there is increase in the healthcare expenses. The healthcare cost, mostly related to the alcohol related problems, that increases. There is more economic burden, there is loss of productivity, loss of jobs. And so alcohol has a very broad effect, just of, to the entire nation.
That's very much concerning. Sir, would you suggest what steps we can take to control this issue?
It's definitely concerning, but I think we do have hope if we develop some practices in related to alcohol related disorders. So some of these steps are very important for curtailing the prevalence of alcohol use in our part of our country. So one, since we have already said that there is a very less amount of awareness among people, so it's very important that we create awareness even at the very basic level, from schools to colleges. It's very important we make them understand about the harmful effects of alcohol, about negative peer pressures, and how to deal with negative peer pressure, or how to stay away from this risk factors that may lead to alcohol use. And secondly, also the parents play a very important role in growing up their children. So parents should never normalize alcohol use in their families. So there are certain families where we you commonly see that even father, mother, and children are consuming alcohol together. I think these kind of practices should be stopped, and always it's important for parents to be aware for themselves about the harmful effect of alcohol, and also letting their kids know about how alcohol affects our systems. Second part, the important thing what I feel is, even there are people who understands that they have alcohol related issues, but they do not know like where to go, whom to speak, where to take treatments. So it is important that we integrate the mental health care with the general health care system. So people in the villages who are consuming alcohol, they are probably having a lot of alcohol related issues, but they do not know where to go, where to see the doctor. So if the general healthcare, or if the PHs, the CHs, whichever available in that localities, if those centers are equipped to say a psychiatrist, if the psychiatrist works over there, then they can take care of this kind of problems. If not, if the psychiatrists are not available, then skill development, the paramedical workers or the non doctors who do not have a psychiatric background, even they can be trained about alcohol and alcohol related use. So the second thing important is that integrating this mental health care with the general health care, also increasing the availability availability and the accessibility to mental health care for people or in regions where alcohol use is very prevalent. So that can be done by developing designated psychiatric units or rehabilitation centers where people can come and take treatment related to alcohol issues. Another important part is the role of community. So all the community leaders, the religious leaders, or the non-governmental organizations, if they join hands together to create awareness about alcohol and alcohol-related problems, it will be very helpful for our community to stay away from alcohol and its harmful effects. And also the legal perspectives. It's, even though it's very difficult to implement a very prohibitory law, but then still, if certain curtailments are there in procurement or selling of alcohol, that would be very helpful for the people of this part of the country. And lastly, the media. I would like to say the media also plays a very important role in promoting health, promoting mental health, and positive mental health, and creating awareness about alcohol and alcohol-related problems. So media should not actually promote the surrogate ads of alcohol and alcoholic beverages. They should not glamorize alcoholics in movies and other videos and all. And also the endorsements that they do with celebrities and all, where alcohol and alcohol-related products are promoted. These things should be curtailed as much as possible.
Sir, would you like to give a take-home message for our viewers?
First of all, for all the young people, my advice is, not to experiment with alcohol or alcoholic beverages. The reason is it's a very subtle, toxic substance which will affect your brain in a very subtle manner, and you will not be aware like when you are getting into the clutches of dependence. So it's very important that you do not experiment with any form of alcoholic substances. My second advice will be to the parents. So it's very important that you should educate yourself about the harmful effects of alcohol and how it affects our mind and body, and so that you can guide your children's and help them to stay away from alcohol, and also not to normalize any alcohol use behavior in your families. My third advice will be to schools and colleges, because it's very important, and particularly the onset of alcohol use is usually around in the late teens and early 20s. So it's very important for colleges to conduct periodic awareness programs so that they are kept in check, and they know that the alcohol and alcohol effects are not good for our system. And lastly, for all those people who are already having alcohol and alcohol related issues, we at PA Sangma International Medical College, we have a department of psychiatry where we run our OPDs, and we have a team of doctors and clinical psychologists who are dealing or helping out people who are already suffering from alcohol related disorders. So I would like to request any one of you who knows someone or who is already having issues with alcohol to please visit our OPD and take a specialized care from us. Thank you for inviting me, and I hope this discussion will be helpful for our viewers.
Thank you for coming to the show, Dr. Sharma, and sharing such valuable insight with us. That's all for today's episode of the USTM podcast. Stay informed, stay aware, and let's all build a healthier future together. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more important discussions. See you in the next episode. Thank you so much.